www.kirsty.com.au. Today I'm going to be talking to you about something that I feel is really important to consider in this day and age, where we've got a lot of talk about problems with the economy, the world economy, the economy of the country, a lot of people a bit low on money. So I want to talk to you about the effect that may be having on your children and just some tips and tricks to overcome that. I'd like to live in a world where there's plenty to spare and share. I read that quote recently in a book that was given to me for Christmas, and I love it. I have plenty to spare and share. And I'd like to encourage those positive thoughts in my children. Yes, there is certain considerations to be taken into account, and there always has been and there always will be. However, the exposure we give our children to what is going on can make the difference as to whether they believe in the future or they feel that it will be a failure, and maybe why should they put in the effort. I hear the examples coming from my children constantly. Oh, well, what's the point? We'll never be able to afford that or this. So, they'll come home and tell me stories about what other people have been saying. So I'd like to promote a very positive attitude that, we will always have enough, and we can always make allowances and changes when we need to, because that is life really, isn't it? But we can always aim high, because there is always the same amount of money floating around the world. It's just whether or not we've got a hand up to get it. So, you can have a lot of stress and concerns in the family, and this can make life very difficult. You may become anxious or depressed, or develop emotional problems from just the stress and concerns surrounding money and your financial situation, or the financial situation of someone else or a country, and how that may affect you. So the first most important thing, I think, is to take care of yourself, because the children will be looking to you to see that you're healthy, that you're happy, that these things aren't concerning you. And that's a holistic approach, taking care of yourself to make sure that you are ready and looking strong every day. Also, the other thing that I find is limiting the exposure the children have to media that could be possibly saying that there isn't enough, that people are suffering, that things are going on that's going to affect everybody. So to keep it in perspective for them, there are bits and pieces they see in here. However, they always come to me for more information, and we don't allow it to become very dramatic for them, because economies always recover, and that's the biggest thing. And it's people who think positive, that take opportunities in these times, are the ones that recover first. So choose your words carefully. Comments like, we just lost your savings, the money in your savings account, we've had to use it, I might lose my job, we can't afford that, really start to concern children. You'd be surprised how much that concerns them. So, instead of saying you could say, I choose not to spend money on that right now. We're choosing to build up our savings. I might be looking for a career change. You've always got to have your fingers in a couple of pies. I've got a new project on the go. Just positive. Turn the negatives into positives. And if you do have to discuss things, you need to be able to discuss things with your partners and friends, but just allow the children to be out of earshot, because their maturity levels might not be able to understand what you're saying in that moment, may not be how it is the next day. Let them see you going for the opportunities, feeling positive about change, and making sure that you feel supported, that you feel that you're creating a stable foundation, that when things change, you change. It's important to talk with your children, because they will sense the stress and they'll become anxious and upset. But communicate with them in an appropriate way. Don't let them overhear you going through your concerns with a friend or your partner. If you get really upset, take some time out. But let them not sense your stress or your anxiousness. So if you're feeling like that, just take some time out and see how you can turn it around to more positive. And what can I be doing my best right now? Can I let go of this worry today? And teach your children that as well. So say to them, yes, the world is changing. Their money changes hands, things change. We look at doing things differently. Even give them examples of how this has happened over the years, over hundreds of years. Economies go up and down, but they always come up again. And so it's about what you do right now. Sometimes you have more money for things, and sometimes you may not be able to take that holiday. And that is about life, so what can we be doing instead? And be sensitive to each of your child's needs. So it's age appropriate. So, for example, teenagers you may explain differently to what you would an 8 or 9-year-old. A 5-year-old may need to hear it differently. Any child, though, constantly hearing, I don't have the money for that, I don't have the money for that, we don't have much money, we can't do that, we might lose our house, is not appropriate, because it brings about a feeling of stress and strain, and they get really scared. And then they start to think, well, children will have a wonderful ability, and I don't know how wonderful it is, that they will work out how to blame themselves. So you may find that they'll get quite angry, but they're actually angry at themselves. Well, if I hadn't have made mum and dad pay for this, and if I hadn't have done this, and my son's got braces, so we pay payments every month for that, and I've heard him say, well, if it wasn't for me, you wouldn't have that, and that's not the point. We tell him, we are in a position where we can get you braces, and we choose to do that. You need to be grateful for that, and we can move forward. So it's about rephrasing things, and because they will worry, and they do hear things from their friends and other sources. Okay, if you have a child that already has issues with anxiety or other emotional problems, may get particularly upset easily, make sure that you're sitting down with them and giving them additional reassurance, okay, because they will be picking up on the energy and the talk that might be going around right now. And, so make sure that if you have the child that is more susceptible to those things, that you are talking more to them about it and asking them how they feel, what they're thinking about it. Also, plan family meetings. We have a family meeting about once a month to update the children on what's going on and what's happening. This is very beneficial for us, especially with my husband working away. And he also takes the older two out for one. He takes my son to do some activity and my daughter out to breakfast every time he's home once a month. And they have their own chats as well. So that's the time they get to talk to their dad about different concerns they may be having. So plan family meetings where the children in a non-judgmental space can ask questions. Say, what do you think about some of these things that are going around about money? How do you think we're going? Okay, and always make it positive for them. But get into their heads and work out what they're actually feeling, because they may not be telling you, and then they may end up all of a sudden under stress. We don't want children to create a negative association to money. I know I had one when I was growing up, because my mother had the great saying, rob Peter to pay Paul. She would hide bills from my dad. She would do all sorts of things and often complain about money, and there was never enough, and every time it comes in it goes out. And it took me many years as an adult to get away from all those negative associations, including her jealousy for people that did have a lot of money. Now, if I remember my family correctly now as an adult, there was always money there. However, maybe what she was doing with it, and because of her negative associations to money, it always did seem not to be there for her. So watch those associations you're building for your children. That's really important. We want them to go into adulthood feeling resourceful, feeling that they can overcome things, and that they can make the money that they need and that they want. Money isn't a bad thing. Money is just energy, and it's in exchange for services. So instead of it being about money, make it about what money can bring you. So if you value holidays, and if you value a nice car or a nice house or a nice computer, whatever it may be, it doesn't matter. There's no right or wrong. That is what money brings you. So focus on what you can get rather than the money itself, because there will always be enough money there. And as we know, there's some great specials going on at the moment because the money is coming in and out in different ways. So we're actually saving a lot of money as well. So there's always different ways to look at money. So I hope that I've given you some ideas in looking at how to create a more positive look on the economy for your children and for your children's future. Thank you, and as always, look forward.